Here's what we're discussing on today's San Francisco 49ers Report. Happy Friday. Hope all of the faithful is getting set to have a phenomenal weekend. What George Kittle said about Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, it was somewhat interesting. And also, we're going to have a conversation here. Is Kyle Shanahan an elite head coach in the National Football League? We're going to dive into all of this, but first, today's show is sponsored by True Classic. I'm wearing one of their polos now. You can wear one for yourself at trueclassic.com/chat. Use the promo code chat for 25% off your entire order. Father's Day, it's coming up this Sunday, and one thing is for sure, dads have enough ties, tools, and baggy tees. This year, give the dad, father figure, mentor, or loved one in your life the gift of looking good and feeling good with True Classic. Their ultra soft tees, and like the polo that I'm rocking, fitted in all of the right places and with just enough room where you need it. You'll never want to wear anything else, I can guarantee you that. But True Classic isn't just about tees. They have everything you need to build a complete wardrobe, from button-downs to Henleys to polos. I also love their joggers as well as their running shorts. True Classic also has a line of comfortable, stylish jeans and chinos and a collection of activewear that's perfect for anyone who wants to stay comfortable while staying active. And if you're not completely satisfied with your purchase, they offer a 100% risk-free guarantee and easy returns. With affordable prices and high-quality clothes, True Classic is a no-brainer for anyone looking to upgrade their wardrobe. Don't settle for anything less than the best. Come on now. Try True Classic today. Your style and look matters. Use the promo code CHAT at trueclassic.com/chat for that deal to apply. We're talking 25% off your order. I put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. And who rocked this shirt better? The model type M, Chase type C. Don't rip me too much. All right, let's begin with George Kittle here, endorsing Brock Purdy to be the team's starting quarterback in Week 1, and it does make a lot of sense considering how Purdy played last year as a rookie. And don't get it twisted, right? This isn't a shot at Trey Lance. It's a compliment to Purdy with how he slung the rock a year ago after being Mr. Irrelevant. Now, here is the Brock Purdy injury timeline, and we'll see if he's able to make that season opening start against the Pittsburgh Steelers on September 10th in Week 1. On March 10th, he underwent the UCL surgery. On May 29th, he started throwing a football, so he's making good progress in that regard. On August 21st, if the original timeline holds up, that would be full clearance for Brock Purdy, giving him a few weeks to get ready for that game against Pittsburgh on the road. But my goodness, an injured quarterback who might not be at peak 100% going up against TJ Watt with Colton McKivitz as your right tackle, you can count me as a little bit concerned. As for what Kittle said, not just about Purdy, but Trey Lance as well. He did a couple of interviews this past week, and I think anytime that George Kittle does an interview, it's always lively, it's always entertaining, and sometimes there are takeaways. And what do you know? A lot of people on social media like to say that Kittle doesn't like Trey Lance. Well, he invited him to Tight End University, and here's what he had to say about Lance. Trey is a starter in the NFL. He will be. Get that guy some reps, and he has an incredibly high ceiling. Brock Purdy won 8 straight games. He got hurt. It's just Brock's job to lose at that point. I think that Trey is definitely a starting quarterback. He just needs reps. That's all that it is. Now, all of this makes sense, right? I've been telling you this ever since Trey Lance got drafted. There was a concern when Lance was drafted about the lack of experience. 2020 was the COVID year. North Dakota State only played 1 game that year. In 2019, he did play a full season. He was excellent. But since 2019, we're talking about a combined 21 starts for Trey Lance. He needs reps. The Niners can't really afford to give him those reps because of injuries that have happened, his up and down play, but then Brock Purdy balls out. Now, Kittle also did an interview on the Dan Patrick Show, and he revealed this. Are you expecting Brock Purdy to be starting Week 1, Dan Patrick asked. George Kittle, oh yeah, I am. I mean, if you win 8 games in a row, it's just hard to bench that guy. I think, no, I mean health-wise, Dan chimed in and said, oh, yeah, I do. I mean, he's been throwing. I think he looks good. I've seen him throw once or twice. He's confident. He's in a good place mentally and physically. So I'm excited about that. So the injury updates for Purdy continue to be really encouraging. He started throwing at that May 21 mark. That was ahead of schedule. And now here we are in the middle of June. It's wild, by the way, how quickly this month and how quickly this year is passing us by. And now it's George Kittle who's saying, yeah, I've seen him throw. He looks pretty damn good. I was seeing some chatter, hearing some chatter that Purdy isn't really pushing the football downfield, but he does look good and healthy in coming off that injury. And the doctors who I've talked to, they've all said, yeah, you shouldn't expect a massive dip in production. If anything, he should be the same quarterback that he was pre-injury. So today's poll question is this. Let's hear from you down in the comment section. This is still up in the air, in my opinion, just because of the severity of Purdy's injury. Who starts week 1? TL for Trey Lance, BP for Brock Purdy, or SD for Sam Darnold? Now, Kittle definitely hit on what Purdy was able to accomplish as a rookie. He won those 8 games in a row. That 8th is basically him coming in that relief effort against the Miami Dolphins when the Niners were down at that time. So Purdy did have to come in relief for Jimmy Garoppolo, and as a rookie, lead a comeback effort against a really good team at the time. And so he comes back against Miami. He goes 5-0 in the regular season, 2-0 in the playoffs. So combined, he was a part of 8 wins, is what Kittle is alluding to. And the offense averaged more than 30 points per game when Brock Purdy was the team's starting quarterback. And in those 2 playoff games, I thought he made some strides, man. And it's wild to me, the discourse that has been transpiring on Twitter when you look at the numbers that Brock Purdy was able to put up in the regular season and in the playoffs. Now, is it too early to say that Purdy definitively is going to be the team's franchise quarterback for the long haul? Of course. Defenses will adjust. Defensive coordinators will adjust as well to what Brock Purdy did last year. But in that same sentence, you can also say this, right? And in that same conversation, I guess I should say more accurately, Kyle Shanahan can also continue to counteract what defenses are going to do and scheme guys open. And through his schematical adjustments and play design, he too can help Brock Purdy improve when defenses try to adjust what Purdy was able to do. I mean, to come in as a rookie in the regular season and to go undefeated, average more than 30 points per game, chuck 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. And then in the NFL playoffs, what I liked from Purdy, started off rocky against Seattle, closed that game really strong, and had some crazy numbers in that game. Were some of them because of yards after the catch? Yes, but it goes back to that point about Shanahan scheming guys open, which can help Purdy in his development. So he finishes that game strong. Solid defense too, by the way. And then against the Dallas Cowboys, very good defense. Niners got their asses kicked up front. What did Brock Purdy do at the end of the game? Led the Niners down the field on a 90-plus yard drive to score a touchdown, made that throw to George Kittle, and that was a clutch, requires stones type of drive from the rookie. Cool, calm, and collected, never seems to be in over his skis, very confident and never fazed by the big moment. Those are attributes that certainly matter. And then there was some talk about whether or not Brock Purdy has a weak arm, if he is a dink and dunk quarterback. Now, I love Ryan Hensley. I think he does a great job with 49ers content creating. He's kind of the one who started that conversation, and he has a point, right? Like when you look at some of the analytics, they do point to Brock Purdy not pushing the ball downfield. If you look at other metrics, he did push the ball downfield. I thought that when Purdy came in, replacing Jimmy Garoppolo last year, the offense changed and it became more dynamic, more explosive, and they averaged more than 30 points per game because the downfield passing attack was a part of the offense when it wasn't for Jimmy Garoppolo, who really just lived in between the numbers and inside the hashes. Purdy, on the other hand, got the ball out quickly, precisely, accurately. Players were able to catch the football in stride, make plays after the catch, but he made a couple of really nice throws downfield. A couple that stand out to me, that dime to Christian McCaffrey against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a couple of the long balls to George Kittle. Like Brock Purdy did have that element to his game, and the yards per pass thrown. This isn't yards per attempt. This is yards per pass thrown at 8.3. that was behind Tua Tagovailoa, who some people question his arm strength as well, and ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Now, is this a conversation that Purdy is better than Patrick Mahomes? Don't ever say that I said something like that. Otherwise, I will come after your ass. If you want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, feel free. I'm on there at Chase_Senior. Love chopping it up with everybody. You can agree with some of the things that I say. You can disagree. I think that open discourse and open-minded conversations are great, and that's what we like to have here on the show. Hit me up. I want to hear from you. Don't be a stranger. Slide in the DMs. Let's round out today's show with this. Good conversation here, I believe, and it's one that we can have here in the doldrums of the NFL calendar in mid-June when absolutely nothing, zilch, is going on. Is Kyle Shanahan an elite coach in this league? Mina Kimes of ESPN ranking Shanahan as the second best coach in the NFL. Second is a little bit lofty for me. Is he top 5? I think for sure. Is he on the precipice of being a top 5 coach if you don't think he's in that top 5? Yes, no doubt about it. But a couple of guys on this list have won Super Bowls. Andy Reid has won multiple. John Harbaugh's a great coach. Sean Payton's a great coach. Both of them have one. Mike Tomlin has 2. And then you look at some of the other coaches outside of this top 5. Look, Kyle Shanahan is certainly a unique coach in this league. I think that with Sean Payton and him having not done much in a long while, is he still a top 5 guy? We could debate this for days on end, but here's what Mina had to say about Shanahan, and I like her blend of analytics and football analysis. Sometimes it can get a little bit hot-takey, but it's certainly backed up by some good data. I would take, Mina said, Kyle Shanahan, if I was building a team from scratch over all but like 8 quarterbacks in the NFL, which is an absolutely deranged thing to say about a coach, and I don't feel that way about any of the other coaches on this list other than Andy Reid. It does help her in saying that Andy Reid is a little bit older, for sure, and Shanahan is younger, because Shanahan can certainly help you rebuild one of your football operations and your football organizations in this great game that we call football. Kyle Shanahan, no question, is an elite coach in the National Football League. He has so many strengths, and of course, he does have some flaws as well, but he's on the precipice of winning a Super Bowl, and if he does win that Super Bowl, I think we're looking at an offensive visionary and one of the most influential offensive minds in the history of the NFL. But the lack of winning that big game and choking in some of those big moments certainly has cost him in this conversation. There's good and there's some bad with Kyle Shanahan. The good, I think, is a great play caller and a great play designer. Defensive coordinators have to prepare for all of his wrinkles. His schemes allow wide receivers to get wide open, and that's why his offenses oftentimes are very, very explosive. He runs a quarterback-friendly system that has maximized the likes of Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, C.J. Beathard, and Nick Mullins. His running attack is also very elite, and 3 NFC championship games in 4 years is nothing to scoff at. But Shanahan, on that same note, has blown leads in big games, hasn't won a championship yet. I disagree with his game management because I don't think it's great. His lack of aggressiveness really frustrates me in this analytical era. There's been way too many times in which he's on the plus side of the field at about the 40, 45-yard line. He decides to punt, which analytically doesn't make sense. You might as well go for it right there because the net change isn't all that drastic. And while he's maximized quarterbacks, I think you can knock him a little bit because he hasn't found a franchise quarterback just yet. But Kyle Shanahan's still an elite coach in this league, and the 49ers would be an awful spot without him. Like, you think back to how disastrous the Chip Kelly tenure was. Mike Singletary, way back in the day. Jim Tomsula was a straight-up fraud. And Kyle Shanahan had to tear this whole thing down, rebuild it. He takes over in 2017, and since 2019, after a couple of years of rebuilding, we're talking about 3 NFC championship games in 4 years and a Super Bowl championship in that span as well. And if Purdy doesn't get hurt last year, what happens? Are we having a different conversation? Now, again, he needs that vaunted Super Bowl, and if he gets that, my goodness, we're talking about a really special coach over the course of NFL history, not just right now. So let me know. Fill in the blank here before we hop on out of here. Kyle Shanahan is blank, elite, good, great, average. He sucks. Let me know. Have a great weekend. I'm going to be in Philadelphia from Sunday to Wednesday, but the content keeps coming because that's what we do, and that's how we're built here at Chat Sports.